Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have recently read and enjoyed. And my guest for today is Barnali Roy, and we are going to talk about her book, which is a collection of short stories, Aftertaste of a Half-Lived Life. And it's a really charming collection of stories which makes you ponder upon the what if of life. Hi, Nilshri. Yes, so my guest for today is Barnali Roy. I'm just waiting for her and we can begin today's episode. She's not here yet. Let me just send her a quick invitation. Yeah, she's here. Received it? Hi, Barnali. Did you receive my invitation? If not, I will send you another one. Can you let me know in the comments? Okay, I've sent you a fresh invitation, Barnali. See if you received that and are able to accept it. Yes. You just need to turn your front camera on. Hi, Barnali. Are you?
Hi.
Hi. You just need to turn on your front camera.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, hi. Welcome to the show.
Hi. So
Hi. How
nice
are
to meet
you?
you.
Yes, same here. Very, very happy to have you as a guest, and welcome to the Author Collaborative. Nilshri is also here. So, just a shout out to Nilshri because of her. We are here together today. She was the one who recommended your book to me and
Yeah,
said you could
she's
invite
been
her.
a very great supporter. In
Yeah.
fact, she wrote a brilliant review for my book, and I was so overwhelmed. And this way that we authors support each other. We should support each other.
Thank
Otherwise, it's a very lonely place for authors. You must realize
Yeah,
that.
that's true. That's true. Before we start the episode, Barnali, can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah. Well, actually, I am basically a postgraduate in English literature
Okay.
and in management. And I started my career in the corporate world as a placement person, then as a trainer, and then I switched over to academics. I taught HR and personality development, interviewing skills, etc. This was I was doing while I was bringing up my child, so I did it as a visiting faculty. Then I started developing a liking for blogging, and slowly I started, writing blogs, and I started my own blog. I started my blog way back in 2014. That is about 11 years back. And sorry, I think, yeah, about 11 years back. And I started, writing whatever came to my mind. It was something which I already had in myself. I used to write from childhood. In college and school, I won several prizes for writing. So, people say that I write well. So I started my blog, and then I started, slowly also taking up content writing jobs.
Hmm.
So I spent about maybe 7, 8 years writing content for blogs, websites, other companies, famous websites and portals. But I was not satisfied. You can understand that writing for someone else, and that too in a very, in a given format for a particular reason, with keywords, is certainly not satisfying to creative souls like us. We want independence.
Yes.
We want to write what we feel. So
Yes.
that part was being taken care of by my blogs, but I still wanted to share stories. And I felt I had a lot of stories inside me
Hmm.
because I have been through many places while growing up, and I've met several people. I've been a agony aunt to many people. So I have faced a lot of problems myself. So I felt that why not share it with others? But sharing it in the form of essays won't be interesting enough. So
Hmm.
it's best that I weave fiction around this.
Yeah.
And so began my attempt to write stories. Now, I started with short stories, and I, had a lot of problems writing fiction first because I was used to writing non-fiction, mostly business
Yeah.
writing, and or I used to write reports. So I began in a very mechanical manner, and all my stories began to sound, similar to each other. So my first book, I was not very satisfied, but still I published it. I self-published it. From the second book onwards, I started going deeper
Hmm.
inside.
Hmm.
I started bringing out my authentic self. And once you bring out your authentic self, then you can succeed as a writer. Because writing is all about connecting to what you are, not what you pretend to be.
Hmm.
And uh, once you know that this is what you stand for, this is what you want to say, then you can sort of dig deep into your consciousness and come up with stories which resonate with you.
Yeah.
So I have seen my own change from the time I started
Hmm.
writing stories to now, where I have become much more fearless, bold, unapologetic,
Hmm.
and also unafraid to show my real self.
Hmm.
So I can say that writing has been a journey from being my ideal or rather projected self to my authentic self.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that bring comes out a lot in your characters also. I was just mentioning that first of all, let's show the book to everyone that we are talking about.
Yeah,
This is the book, Aftertaste of a Half-Lived
yeah,
Life. And I have mentioned in my caption already for the author collaborative, but I want to say it again that uh, all your stories answer that what if question that all of us seem to go through in our everyday life. If I had
yes,
taken a different route, how would my life be? If I had not,
exactly.
yeah,
Right, right, right.
and all the stories are like that. And what I really liked is in all of those stories the characters take that plunge and take that chance on themselves and those around them,
Yes,
and then what the outcome is might not necessarily be always good, but there is something positive in each story to take away. And
right, right.
reading them also probably will motivate and inspire those reading them that maybe I can
Yes,
also take that chance on myself, take that,
exactly,
be a little brave and come out of this
exactly.
cycle that I have been forced to
The
believe I should be a part of.
the strongest emotion we have while dying is that of regret.
Yes.
And regret, if it remains beyond our graves, then we can never be at peace. So I feel that whatever failure we might face is lesser compared to the regret of not having tried at all.
Hmm.
So this is what I have followed in my life, and I wish I can give out this inspiration to others to follow.
Yes. So I'm just going to read out a few passages from one of the stories that I really liked. वैसे तो सभी अच्छी है, but this one particularly touched me a lot because it sends out a very important social message to parents, to children, to everyone. So I'm just going to read that out. It's called Table Manners, and it starts like this. The heavenly aroma of Zafrani mutton biryani wafted through the windows of the Basu kitchen, filling the entire neighborhood. Anyone passing by would have salivated at the delicious smell. Sudha Basu put the finishing garnish on the raita and went on to check her biryani dekchi. The rice was fluffy yet not overcooked. The meat was succulent and came off the bones. Black cardamom and peppercorn competed with each other to flavor the dish. Then there was the subtle aroma of saffron, ghee, and mace. Yum! What magic do you cook up every time, Sudha? Each time you cook something, it seems to surpass the taste of the past experience. No one could accuse Arunava Basu of understatement. He was fulsome in his praise for his wife's superb culinary skills. The pause that preceded him was testimony to his wholehearted enjoyment too. At one time, he loved eating out and eating a lot. The richer the cuisine, the better. He was the foodie of their friend circle and could name the best places to sample any kind of dish. And naturally, the tasting went straight to his tummy as well as shot up his blood sugar and pressure too. Then came the serious setback, a cardiac arrest that happened when COVID was ravaging the world. The dietitian, his cardiologist, recommended, proved his nemesis. He drew up a strict diet chart measuring calories and serving sizes. That's the starting of the story, and from then on we meet another character who's a part of this couple's life, and
Yes.
what kind of news that character brings in and how the couple takes that news and what happens after that forms the crux of the story. But I really liked how you have talked about the most important, I feel, the uh, heart of any house is the kitchen, and you have talked about
Exactly.
that.
Absolutely, absolutely. The heart of every house is the kitchen, and most important conversations happen on the dining table.
Yes.
So unfortunately, this thing is going away from our lives. We are all now eating alone.
Hmm.
But the dining table conversations were a part of our growing up so much that it's where we bond. Indian families bond on the dining table.
Yes. So, based on my reading of your book, Varnali, and whatever I little I know of you so far, I hope I can know you better in the coming days and weeks. But I had a few questions for you related to my reading of the book, and I would love it if you could answer those. My first question to you is, uh, I was mentioning earlier that your stories have that what if factor in them, but besides
Right.
that, they also address some uncomfortable truths in
Yeah. Yeah.
relationships without exactly wording out the right and wrong.
Right.
How does one draw that line as an author without sounding like, it is a moral policing or being offensive?
Yes. Actually, I tend to do a lot of model policing at home. So I have to literally control myself from doing it while
Yeah.
writing also. So, I have to literally, rein in my prejudices, rein in my own voice in the head, which is, saying this should not be done, this should not be. So what I do is I pretend, I can say I pretend to have a conversation as an adult. How would I treat the characters as adults?
Hmm.
How would a person react as an adult?
Hmm.
Instead of accusations or instead of mudslinging, what if we just sat down and discussed and
Yeah.
came to a solution?
Hmm.
Because half of the world's problems will be solved if we
Hmm.
can discuss them with an open
Yes.
mind. So I myself am working towards it and I'm nowhere near it, but I would like my characters to be very open-minded. In
Hmm.
fact, they are more open-minded than I am. So they are, they are, they are ideal, people. Uh, at the same time, when I'm showing something which is not
Hmm.
likable, I don't want to condemn the person.
Hmm.
I want to condemn the habit
Yes.
or the trait.
Okay.
The person doesn't become a sinner just because he has that trait.
Hmm.
It is that factor which is bad in that person. So
Hmm.
continuously I have to check myself, check my language. Is it becoming too pontificating? Is it
Hmm.
becoming too negative? Why don't I put in some humor? Let's have some light-hearted banter now.
Hmm.
Let's put in some colloquialisms that will make it a
Hmm.
little bit light. So spontaneously, I have to check myself and the editing I do. In fact,
Hmm.
this table manners or even other stories, from what I started out to what it became was totally different. I
Okay.
had to continuously edit myself, proofread, check whether it's becoming too, moralistic or not. Because I was sure I wanted to connect with today's youth, and nobody wants moral auntie groaning at the ears. So
Yeah.
that's it. It's a continuous process
Yeah.
of self-editing, self-criticism, which I have to do.
Yeah, so obviously that must not be easy, and thank you for sharing that, because you have to always maintain that tone, that you are not coming
Yeah.
off as a moral policing, or you are not
Absolutely.
condescending the reader that this is wrong,
Absolutely.
this is right and wrong. You leave the area gray. You
You leave
just
the area to the
yes,
person who's reading.
yes,
That person will understand what is wrong and what is right.
yes,
You need to point it out for
hmm,
them. It is not our job to sit on a high ground and pontificate.
yes,
So,
definitely. Yes, and that brings me to my next question. For short stories, there's one more problem that I particularly also face as a writer of short fiction, which is that how do we decide on the two most important aspects of it? That is the length of the story and how and where to end the story. What do you do for
yes.
that?
Well, often my stories have been called a bit short. People. I have received this feedback from many readers that they would like to read more.
Hmm.
I have ended it rather abruptly. But what I feel is, since it's a short story, it has got a certain central problem.
Hmm.
And when that central problem has been dealt with, and an ending, or rather a pathway has been suggested,
Hmm.
then you don't need to spell out what will happen after that.
Yes.
You leave it to the imagination of the reader. You leave it to open-ended.
Yes.
And I am very particular about leaving things open-ended rather than saying that this is what happened.
Yeah.
So the moment I feel that as a reader, I don't want to know
Hmm.
more, I
Hmm.
end the story.
Oh, lovely. So yeah,
Yeah.
looking at it
I read it
from
like
a
a
reader's
reader.
point of view.
Yeah. And then I think that do I want to know more, or should I leave it at this? Let there be some element of mystery also.
Hmm.
Let there be some element of uncertainty.
Hmm.
So then I leave it.
Oh, that's a great way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And yes, there has to be a central problem, and once it gets resolved,
Yeah.
there's no need to
Once
continue
it's
the story.
resolved, you can't just, beat your way around the bush and talk about this, that, and everything.
Yes.
That happens in a novel,
Hmm.
but in a short story, you have to economize.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That would be really helpful for me and whoever is looking for a way to how to go about short fiction writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Barnali. That brings me to the end of my questions that I had for you. You have read my latest book, so
Yeah,
the floor
yeah.
is yours.
Okay. Now, Manali, you have written a very unusual book. It's a book in the form of prose and poetry combined, in the form of letters. And you have written letters to things which really matter to you, the things and the people who are a part of your existence. Now, my question is, how do we think of writing this?
So letter writing is something, Barnali, that I've been doing for a very long time. Firstly, poetry is my favorite form of writing amongst non-genres. I've been doing it for over 2 decades now. I've been doing poetry writing since I was a teenager. So I have a bit more experience in writing poetry, and it comes very naturally to me. And another subgenre in that is letter writing, because the way I write letters also becomes very poetic. And I've been writing letters to I've been writing letters to various people in my life on various occasions, like birthdays, anniversaries, or friendship day,
Okay,
or anything like that. And it comes very organically to me when I want
okay,
to express
okay.
myself, when I want to
Right,
convey something. Letter writing is something that I choose as my way out to convey the message in the best possible manner. When I
right.
talk, I may not be able to convey, but when I write it and tell it to someone, the message gets across.
Actually, yes, yes. It's much easier that way. Yeah.
Yes. So I think that was the beginning point of this story, this book, probably 2 decades ago, because I have been doing it for so long. But that was obviously subconsciously done. I didn't know at that time ki in the next 20 years I'll be writing a book like this, which will become a collection of letters like these.
Right, right.
Yeah. But consciously, I think when I started putting letters on my blog related to different topics that I felt very closely associated to, like letters to my family members or letters to things that I really liked. One of the
Right.
first letters that I wrote on the blog, which is also a part of this book, is the letter that I have written to men, telling them that, not all feminists hate you. We are not all men haters. We
Not
appreciate
all
you.
men. Yes, yes. Right, right,
And
right.
at that point, I felt that that was an important message to send out. I also wanted
Right,
to, express my feelings about this particular thing, that, because
right.
feminism was becoming more like feminazi. And I wanted to,
Yes.
differentiate that and tell the men that, we don't all hate you. We appreciate you. In fact, we
Right,
like that
right.
some of you are also feminists and we love that. And
Definitely,
we appreciate
definitely.
you.
Yes, yes, yes. Right.
So that was one of the first letters that I put out on the blog. And then
Okay.
after that, regularly some or the other letters I was putting up on the blog.
Right.
But actively, the most of the letters that are a part of this collection, they came about when I participated in two challenges. One was, since she's already here, so I'm going to say, one was a part of the Authropod magazine that she runs, and
Okay.
it was uh, a challenge where we had to write a letter for each day of the month, and they had given
Right.
us prompts. And the
Okay.
letter, yeah, they had given us the prompts about which letter we should write today.
Okay.
Uh, like write a letter to a stranger, write a letter to yourself, write a letter to your past self, write a letter to your
Right.
future self, write a letter to somebody who you envy. So most of those
Okay.
letters are
Okay.
most of those letters are a part of this collection. And then later, this was in November. This challenge was conducted by Arthropod in November in 23. Okay, and then in April 2024, uh, another challenge I participated in. That's Block Chatter E to Z. And in that challenge, we have to come up with a theme and use each letter of the alphabet, of the English alphabet, to uh, write around that particular theme. And in that, I continued with this particular letter writing that I had started
Okay.
with. And then I took each letter of the alphabet and addressed, like, dear
Okay.
artist, dear father, dear mother. I
Yeah.
continued that.
So wasn't there a risk of being repetitive? Because a lot of sentiments are bound to be repeated. You
Yes.
know, certain things which you feel are which you feel for a lot of people, or maybe a lot of things. So how did you manage that?
So there was also a risk of the letters being too personal. So there
Yeah,
were two things
yeah.
that I was afraid of. One was that I was being personal and people would not be able to relate because I am talking
Not
about my
well.
experience.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
So
yes.
that was one challenge. And the other that you are talking about, which is about, the risk of repetition. So
Repetition.
actually, what I did is I combined the two things.
Okay.
I made them, I thought about my personal relationship with the people that I am addressing. And
Yes.
then I tried to make that particular feeling that I had for that object or that person universal. Because
Right.
I know there are certain things that everyone feels for their mother, for their father, or for their friend. And
Right.
there are certain aspects that must have happened in that particular relationship that, they will find a connect with. So when I'm
Right.
talking about my father, I'm saying that, I'm not able to convey what I feel, because, and this is the best way I know. So I know that
Right.
when somebody reads this, they will know that there is
Right.
always that particular strain when it comes to our relationship with our parents. We are not able to always convey what we feel. There is always going to be an
Absolutely.
invisible wall. Yeah.
Particularly with fathers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be an invisible wall which cannot be, broken down.
Absolutely.
So
Right. Right.
I focused on that particular feeling, and I tried to
Right.
convey it in a manner that would be relatable for anyone who's reading it. So those
Right.
are the two things that I worked upon. That uh, focus on what I feel personally for that particular object or person, and then try to make it universal for the reader also.
Right.
And that I think eliminated the risk of repetition to a
Right.
fair extent, I feel. Despite that, till the last moment, I have to admit, despite this feeling that, I had consciously tried to make it not repetitive, till the time I hit the publish button and I got the first review on my book, I was worried that there is one particular section that is going to sound very repetitive, which was the friend one, because I am addressing. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Because
I was
almost all friends have certain things in common.
yes, and
So that part will be, kind of repeated in every.
yeah.
Right.
So I was worried about that sounding too repetitive, and also that people are going to think ये सारे friends के साथ contact नहीं रखती है क्या सब everyone is a long lost friend or someone who has hurt her.
Right.
But then, fortunately, people didn't feel that way. They found a connect in that also, because apparently everyone has been hurt by people they are close with. So there was a connect that there also.
Actually, yes. Actually, as writers, we are constantly afraid of being judged. All of us are afraid of being judged, but sometimes, we have to take the reader into confidence. Uh, and believe that both of us are, on the
Yeah.
same page.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah. Sometimes that risk, pays off. Sometimes you have to take that chance. We never know.
You have to take that chance. Yes.
Yes.
Right.
You had anything else to ask? Sorry.
Yeah, I want to read out one poem which I liked.
Sure.
Dear me, I'm writing this because someday in the near or far future, I know you will need it. There will be days when you feel demotivated, you will doubt yourself, you will question everything about yourself. That is why you need to be reminded to go on. Because you haven't come this far to stop here. You need to be reminded that there's still a long way to go. There are so many things you have yet to experience, learn, and achieve. You need to be reminded there are still many roads to walk down. So don't belittle yourself because of whatsoever reason. Did someone badmouth you? Come on. Haven't you faced the worst already? Uh, did you fail at a task you set out to do? That's happened before too. So stop feeling sorry for yourself and finish that task. Even later, or if it's not as per your expectations. Because knowing you, I'm sure you won't move on to the next task until you have completed this one. If it's neither of these reasons, then surely it's something trivial or a much bigger hurdle that you have ever faced. But you know what? Just remember all those things you have surpassed yesterday already, and you will be fine. Because resilience is something you've always had and will always have. You've weathered the storm well. Oh, and also, thanks for being by my side through thick and thin, literally as well as figuratively. You know what I mean.
Yes.
So this is
Thank
the
you so
kind of
much.
conversation we all have with our past selves, our future selves, our selves. So I found it a very a very relatable one, which continuously is going on in our minds. But you have voiced it. You have put it on paper.
Thank you. And thank you for reading it out so well. I was
Oh,
also
thank
thinking, while you were reading, I was also appreciating myself for writing it so well. That thank you. Okay, so Barnali, you since we are done with the questions, we move on to my favorite part of the show, which is the rapid fire round.
Rapid
How
fire.
we'll do
Yeah.
this? How we'll do this is we'll do back and forth. One question I ask and one question you ask. Okay.
Right.
So my first question to you is a male protagonist from all your stories that you liked and disliked the most, and tell us why.
Okay. I liked the most would be Ishan from Second Chances. A non-judgmental person, a person who believes in equality, a person who doesn't have hang-ups about, marrying an already married woman with children. He's an epitome of, what men should be.
Hmm.
And the person I disliked would be Mr. Rakshit, who is, an abominable character. He is forever, butting into things, peering into places where he should not, and creating troubles for himself and for others. Well,
Yeah.
till now he has not created any trouble for himself, but soon he realizes that the problem, has come too close home. So these kind of people, never get peace, never, are never satisfied
Yeah.
themselves, and are never able to give happiness to others also.
Yes. True.
Okay,
Okay.
now
Yeah.
I would like to ask you which character resonate with you the most in my stories.
Wow. That's a difficult one. But um, I can't say that I particularly could relate to the characters, but the one character that stood out for me was, I don't remember her name, but the one character that you just named, Ishan, the woman in that story, I think I found her really brave, because most women are not able to break out of that vicious circle that
Charlie,
she,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and she takes that risk, and it's at a point where she has had enough. We
yeah,
see that point at the break as the breaking point, and she takes that risk of leaving that man and
right.
being there for herself, taking care of herself and her children, because
Absolutely, yes,
and in that moment she also realizes, till that point she was accepting it because she thought
yes,
that the children are safe at least. But
exactly,
in that particular instance she realizes that it's not just me that I have to think about anymore.
right,
This is not good for the children either.
right,
So
right,
yeah, I really found her very brave and inspiring.
right. Any story would you oh sorry, this it's your turn. I'm
Yes,
sorry, I
yes.
asked this.
No problem.
Yeah, tell me,
Yeah.
tell me.
My next question is, a female protagonist from all your stories that you liked and disliked the most, and why?
Female protagonist would be the one I like the most would be Brinda
Okay.
from I'm Waiting Mom.
Hmm.
Brinda embodies a lot of ambition and a lot of the way we all think,
Hmm.
shirking from responsibility, thinking twice before going into relationships, and she's also shattered by her fiance's death. But the way she copes with that, and
Hmm.
the way she puts aside her own grief to embrace another person into her love and replace her love for Carl with the love for this girl. I feel it's something which we all should do. We should all, keep aside our personal grudges and do something for societies, to do something for those who really need it. So
Yeah.
she's a person I admire, though I can't say I'll be like her,
Yeah.
but she's a
Yeah.
person I admire.
Hmm.
The person I dislike, the female character I dislike the most would be, I think it would be again Mrs. Rakshit.
Hmm.
That woman, she doesn't have a voice. She always wants to avoid trouble,
Hmm.
and she can't, tell her husband when he's wrong.
Hmm.
Neither can she, give her own opinion on things. She's always at the beck and call of her husband and her
Yeah.
son, and she has no identity of her own. It's like, she just wants to maintain a facade in front of outsiders. That's all. And everything else can go to hell.
Yes.
So I really dislike such people who are not authentic,
Hmm.
who are
Yeah.
fake people.
Yeah. Oh,
And she's one fake person.
yeah. Also, somebody who doesn't have an agency of her own. I mean, why?
Yes. No agency of her own at all.
Yeah.
I mean, she is controlling her husband, but ultimately, whatever he says, she has to accept.
Yes.
So this kind of people I really don't
Yeah.
like. I can't gel with this.
Yes. Okay. Your turn.
You see, even in the story about the one the girl going outside with her colleagues to
Hmm.
outstation, and then
Hmm.
she is getting a indecent proposal. You will see she's sharing her flat with she's sharing her room with another lady
Yeah.
who also is an old person.
Yes,
But
but
that
the, yeah,
person is
empathy.
so enlightened. I mean, she's so warm. She's so helping.
Yeah,
She
it shows
reaches
empathy.
out and sees
Yeah,
that you must make a
yes,
complete. So it doesn't mean that age itself makes you old-fashioned or rigid. Age has
exactly.
nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
It's all in your mentality,
And I
isn't
really
it?
like that one particular story also because, it's a perfect example of women supporting women.
Yeah,
Because,
exactly.
and we need that because if, at that moment, that particular woman who was sharing the room with her would have said that, saw it coming, this is your own doing, then,
Yes, yes. It would have made a hell of a
yeah,
difference. It would have shattered the girl.
yes,
So the fact that she stood up and she extended her wholehearted support, that was, I think, a
yes,
very essential part of
definitely.
this.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, your turn.
Yeah. Okay. Which story would you like to have ended differently?
It differently, I don't know, but I definitely wanted to know more about that particular character, that the male protagonist that you just named. I wanted to see what happens to him and the family when he will realize that he doesn't have a say in this, and in this his son is going to marry that
Who's
particular
going to
girl
marry?
only. इसमें कुछ नहीं
Yeah.
होने वाला है. So how
Yeah.
is he
Yeah.
going to take that?
Okay. I can think of a sequel then.
I want to see whether he's, stays this grumpy person or is he changing or not.
Is it changing? Yes. Yes. Right. Right.
Okay, my next question.
Yes.
Which story took you the longest to write and which one took the shortest? Any particular reason for this?
Yes, I think the shortest Mark's thesis was the one which took the shortest. Because we all have faced sexual harassment in our
Hmm.
lives,
Hmm.
and I just had to reach inwards and find out an incident, and
Hmm.
that incident became the focal point, and I had to sort of build it around it. So I was so sure about the story, so sure about its ending. That story took the fastest to write. The longest was both table manners as well as the curious Mr. Akshit. Because in the curious Mr. Akshit, I was sort of becoming very moralistic, judgmental, and I had to
Yeah.
prevent myself
Yeah.
from going down that lane. And in table manners, again, I was unsure about how to end it.
Hmm.
I wasn't sure that whether the transformation that happens to the father or the acceptance part would look
Hmm.
natural.
Hmm.
I didn't want it to become
Hmm.
sudden.
Hmm.
So I was just wondering how we could ease into that.
Hmm.
So that took a lot of back and forth, and I discussed with my family, my daughter, and she gave some ideas, and then I read up a lot, and then I sort of came up with this.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. And since you have answered this question, I also want to understand particularly about this story because it's also about LGBTQ. And did that take some amount of talking to someone or researching? Because tapping into
Well,
the emotions of,
actually,
yeah.
that it didn't take a little bit of did take a little bit of researching, and I have been reading stories extensively in this. I've been reading literature, queer
Hmm.
literature. I've seen movies, and I have tried to widen my own outlook. My own outlook has been very narrow regarding this.
Hmm.
So I have tried my best, and now I feel that I can, stand at a position where I can tell other people like myself that you need to first support your child, then think about anything else.
Yes.
So, that realization had to come first to myself,
Hmm.
and then to then I, try to tell it to my readers. So
Okay.
that had to take a little bit of your mind
Mind
researching,
shifting.
and
Yeah.
facing a lot of
Hmm.
stigma, facing a lot of prejudice which we have in our minds, because it's not easy. We have
Yeah.
been
It's not.
we are a 90s generation, we are an 80s generation, we have been groomed in a certain way,
Yeah.
and we this all is society for us. But then, what is happening? We must accept it because there is no other choice except to accept it.
Definitely. Okay, your turn.
Yeah. What's next in your writing agenda?
Okay, so there are a few things that I'm working on, actively working on my next novel, which I'm hoping to
Yeah.
bring out sometime this year. But if
Okay.
that doesn't happen, definitely a poetry book is on the way, because that has been the kind of schedule that I follow with my books, that
Okay.
one fiction, one poetry. So if the fiction
Nice.
doesn't happen, poetry will definitely happen this year.
Right. Okay. Great. So we
Okay.
look forward to it. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, my next question to you is, which letter from Embraces would you write differently, or which one would you add to the collection?
I would add a letter to my mobile.
That
Actually,
would be fun to write, yeah.
the mobile has become my greatest friend. I think you will also agree. It's constantly by our side. So when we weep, when we laugh, when we, sort of eating or doing anything, it's there with us. So how I am, I have become umbilically tied to my
Yeah,
mobile.
it's an
And
extension of
I
our body
must
now,
keep it
yes.
aside, against my own wishes, I have to keep it aside sometimes. So that letter, I would have written.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. Okay, your turn.
Okay, which authors do you like reading, Manali?
I don't have particularly favorite authors. I have favorite genres, and I don't look at whether the author is, established or a debut author. For me,
Right,
what matters is whether the book is good or promising or not. And the
exactly.
top genres in this are always rom-com and thrillers. If there is a good
Okay,
book out there, I will not bother whether who has written it. I
who
just
has written
need
it?
a
Yes, right.
I just need a good story.
Okay, great. Great.
That has also helped me come across very good indie authors in the past few years, like you.
Same
And
here. Same. I totally agree. Indie authors have really come up for the past few years, and I am now for the past few years reading only indie
yeah,
authors. You know,
same. Consciously,
they are
I'm
so.
trying to pick as many indie books and authors as possible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly.
Okay. My last question. Which letter from
Yes.
Embraces did you find the most relatable and why?
To me, to the past me, because all of us have a certain regrets about how we did things,
Hmm.
and all of us would like to go back to our past and stand by that little girl who was so unsure, who
Hmm.
was so confused, and tell her that it's okay, everything is going to be all right. So that is something which really
Okay.
resonated with
Thank you. Very happy to know that. Okay, your last question.
me. Okay, which letter is your favorite?
Oh, wow. I don't have a particular favorite letter. I have a subgenre in the letters that I particularly enjoyed writing. And those are the letters where, there is a bit of sarcasm coming in and a
Right.
bit of humor coming in. And those involve the letters like Dear Clock,
Yeah, yeah,
Dear COVID-19 vaccine.
yeah. Glasses and
And
yeah,
then there's also about the social media handles. That also I
yes,
absolutely
yes.
enjoyed writing.
Instagram, Facebook.
They are having a conversation amongst themselves, and I
Right,
had a lot of fun writing that letter.
right,
All
right.
those actually, wherever I am, my funny side is coming out. I enjoyed writing.
Okay, great. So you should write humor now.
I do actually. I do write rom coms, and there my humorous
Okay.
side comes along very nicely.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So now, since you have read the book, I have a new segment in the show, Barnali, which is called the Gratitude Bingo. And what I will do here is I will ask you a few questions related to gratitude, and you just need to answer in yes or no. Okay.
Okay,
My first
right.
question to you is, just a minute, I'm pulling it up here. Okay. Did a random act of kindness.
Yes.
Okay, lovely. Next one. Paid gratitude to an object.
Uh, Not very, but yes, sometimes.
Okay. Next one. Wrote a gratitude letter.
No, never.
Oh, you should write it. It's very, very
Yeah,
therapeutic.
right.
Okay. Next one. Said sorry to someone in the last 24 hours.
No, I'm not a person to say sorry. I detest saying sorry. I would rather show it through my actions. And the
Okay.
only person I say sorry is my daughter. Nobody else.
Okay. Nice.
So
Next one.
I need a lot of learning to do, I think.
Doesn't matter. You're showing through your action. So I think
Yeah,
that's as good as wording it out.
yeah.
Okay. Next one. Said thank you to someone in the last 24 hours.
Definitely. I say thank you very often.
Okay.
I say please and thank you very often because we have been raised in a way that manners are very important.
Okay.
Gratitude is very important. So I really appreciate people and what they do.
Okay. Next one. Hugged someone in the last 24 hours.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. Next one. Said something nice or paid a compliment to someone in the last 24 hours.
Yes.
Lovely. Next one. Forgave someone who hurt you.
Uh, uh, Trying to.
Yeah, I know that. It takes a lot of,
Yeah. Yeah.
letting go, healing. Healing, I think
Healing,
it needs,
healing is actually very difficult.
yes. Okay. Next one. Help someone without any motive or expectation.
Yes.
Lovely. Next one. Gave someone a shout out in the last 24 hours.
Yes.
Great. Next one. Listen to
Even,
someone.
sorry to interrupt you. Help someone and give a shout out. I keep doing on social media because
Okay.
I really want to boost people's social media presence, and I offer compliments, I offer comments, I like whenever possible. In fact, I've made it a point to be active on social media for this reason.
Lovely. That's something we can, take a leaf out of. Everyone should follow that, I feel, because jitna
Yes,
promote
yes,
karoge,
yes,
it's
yes.
good for the
Because
community,
when
I
we
feel.
want it, we want it, we want
Hmm.
it. So we should give it also.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Listen to someone with empathy and without judgment.
Yes.
Lovely. Next one. Spend quiet time alone outside.
No.
Hmm. We should. Okay.
No, I'm not that brave. I usually prefer to go outside in company. But yes, I must do it. I must.
Okay. Next one. This is one particular question where all of my guests are like, stuck. Did not complain for a whole day.
No, definitely not. We, even for the past half an hour or 1 hour, I can say I have not complained. But before that, I've been complaining.
That's okay. You are sailing in the same boat as most of my
Yeah,
guests.
yeah.
Thank
That's a
you.
habit, which we can't let go.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely. I have never answered yes on this particular question, so
Yes.
I can totally relate. Okay, next one. Wrote three things that you like about yourself.
No.
You must. Self appreciation is very
Yeah.
important. Do that,
Yeah.
Barnali. Next one. Wrote three things that you like about your parents.
Actually, my parents are no more, so I have not written anything. But I keep thinking about them.
Okay.
So,
Love.
it's been a long time since they passed away.
I'm sorry
So,
to hear that. Next one. Wrote three things you like about someone you envy.
no, 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 no.
Okay. इतना बड़ा दिल नहीं है मेरा.
इतना बड़ा दिल नहीं है मेरा.
Next one. Wrote three things you like about a friend or colleague.
I write sometimes, but not maybe not three things. Maybe
Hmm.
just be a compliment once in a while.
Okay,
and I try to pay compliments whenever I can.
lovely. Next one. Helped, mentored, or shared knowledge with someone.
This I do all the time. I am on LinkedIn actively, and I try to help people. In fact, a young writer was reaching out. I told him, my experiences. I asked him to read my blog where I've mentioned about my experience. And I feel that the more I share, the more people will learn from what not to do.
Hmm.
And they will not face the kind of problems which I have faced. So I try to do this all the
Lovely. That's awesome.
time.
Next one. Watched the sunset in the past month.
I watched the sunset yesterday, I
Oh,
think.
oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. Next one. Observed or appreciated nature and its elements.
All the time. Actually, I am very fond of nature. I have my own garden in my balcony, and I do have my plants to whom go, I sit around and talk to them in my
Okay.
heart. I sort of caress them. So all the time I'm looking. In fact, I feel that people often hurt you, but plants will never hurt you. So I really feel at one with my plants.
Awesome. Okay. Next one. Sat in the sunlight in the past week.
Yeah,
Great.
today itself.
Okay. Next one. Made someone laugh or smile in the past 24 hours.
Yes, yes. I am all the time making people laugh.
Great.
as long as I'm laughing, I like to make people laugh also.
Great. Okay, next one. Turned or looked at a negative situation in a positive manner.
uh, yes, I have.
Hmm.
Yes.
I think all of us should learn that and embrace it.
Yes.
Okay, next
There
one.
is always something to learn. As they say, if you can't win, you learn.
Yes, exactly. Okay, next one. Did something this month that you have been wanting to do for a long time.
Uh, this month, yes. Yes, I have
Okay,
done.
awesome. That's congratulations on that. Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, next one. Took ownership or responsibility for your mistake.
Yes. When I make a mistake, I do take ownership of it because though I may not say sorry in so many words, but I do admit that I'm wrong. I
Hmm.
also give my the reasons why I did it, but then when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's
Yeah.
no two ways about it. So
Okay.
I
Lovely. Thank you so much. This was so much fun. You have answered it very honestly, and I hope you also had fun answering them.
absolutely, absolutely. I laughed so much.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode. I'm just going to scroll up once and see if we have any questions or remarks that we have not answered. Mostly, I think it was Nilshri, and we did receive a lot of hearts during our conversation. So I'm just going to say thank you to everyone who was sending us hearts, and thank you for joining also today. And yes, to you also for being my guest. And I had a great time
Yes,
interacting with you.
even I had a great time speaking to you, Manali. We have been connecting for a long time, and this was long overdue.
Yes,
So finally, it
yes.
happened.
And this is a question I asked to all my guests that I loved having over. So I'm going to ask you also, when is the next book coming so I can invite you again?
Actually, the next book is ready for publication. I'm just in search of a good publisher, and
Okay,
as soon as I get it, I think in about another 6 months' time, it's going to be out in the market.
congratulations and all the best. I hope
Yes.
you get the best publisher
Thank you,
possible.
thank you. I really, and it's a novel, so it's a departure from my previous stories, which are all short stories. It's a novel, so let me see how it comes out.
Wow.
And
I
I
really,
really am
I'm
tense
looking
about
forward to
it.
reading it. Yeah, I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you,
reading
thank
it
you.
and having you again and talking about that book again on this show. So do it as soon as
Definitely,
possible.
definitely, definitely.
Sending it out to the universe also to make it possible as soon as possible.
Exactly, absolutely. I'm really, on tenterhooks because I am taking a plunge, and
Hmm.
I pushed myself to write this novel because, as I said, once I write short stories, you become used to writing short stories. You end it at a time. But with a novel, you can't do that. You have to, continue. You have to think of situations, think of
Yeah,
growth.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Writing a
that
novel
kind of
takes a
thing.
lot of time and patience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can totally understand that. So all the best, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank
And
you so much.
let's hope we
Thank
can
you.
do this again as soon as possible. Bye, Barnali. Have a
Absolutely.
great weekend.
Bye.
Bye, bye.
Bye.